Alright boys, in today's video I'm going to show you the best teams to use to get to Champion 1 because very important, you have a lot of gems for when Melly comes out. Now a lot of this game is very free to play friendly, believe it or not, in the way of gems. Okay, I think cosmetics and stuff is still outrageous, but in terms of gems, very free to play friendly. Okay, right now because it's a celebration and they had the half Annie, and this will continue throughout the New Year's as well. We're getting 8 gems if you do all your daily missions, right? So you get 3 here, you get 3 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Okay, so that's 8. And then if you pray, which I've already done, you get another one. So it's 9 gems. Okay, you need to join a guild. If you're not in a guild, go join a guild. Okay, very easy to find one. Just go find any guild that at least has enough people logging in that you get a gem. That's 9 gems. Okay, so 7 days a week, 9 gems. That's 63 gems. Okay, and now we take the PvP gems as well. When you get to Champ 1, that's 60. So in 4 weeks, you would get 500, almost 500, like 490 something. 500 gems in a month from just doing that. But then there's also events that give gems. There's final boss that gives like another 30 gems, right? Then for New Year's, we'll have 300 gems logging on. Right now we have 200 gems logging on. So there's a bunch of gems you can get right now, right? Enough to fund your entire rotation for Melly. So that's really good. Or if you don't really care about Melly, or you pull them early and you stop summoning because you only care for 1/6, you can buy a bunch of outfits because we have the discount going on right now as well. Very good, okay? And from now until the Melly banner leaves is also 4 weeks. A little less than 4 weeks, but enough to get enough gems, okay? Trust me. So that's really good. So I'm going to show you guys the best teams to get to Champ 1 to. The thing is, if you get to Champion 1 once, you're practically always in Champ 1 because then you'll decay to Champ 2 next week and you just have to play like a couple matches. I play 10 and you're in Champ 1 again. And you get decayed, Champ 1 again. And you get 60 gems every week, just like that. It's so nice. So you gotta get there. If you, especially in the lower ranks, you 100% need to do this. Obviously, it's a bit more difficult for some, a bit easier for others. But I feel like just in general in Grand Cross PvP, because of the way matchmaking everything works, you can get to Champ 1 with a lot of teams, okay? I'm gonna go from like, not necessarily best to worst, but like really strong teams to really weak teams. It's not ordered, okay? Ordering would be too hard. I'm gonna talk about which characters you'd want, which relics are required for the certain teams, because some relics obviously aren't as required as others. Yeah, so first let's start with the Goddess team. Now you can run Tristan, you can run Elad. I find Tristan to be much stronger because on this team a bunch of the things you do is getting damage reduction from her and him, right? And you're getting basic stats, right? A bunch of HP from him, from her as well. Well, from them, from them as well. Okay, so getting the defense related stats will improve your survivability a bunch on this team and make you even more tanky. Now I am not a fan of this team. I don't like using Goddess Liz on this team. Also, your ult level does not matter. Mine's 3/6. If yours is 1/6, you can run the Goddess team. It's fine. The ult passive on this team you don't take advantage of anyway, because your units are so defensive that they tend to not die. So you're not using her effectively, but she's still going to be strong on this team. The one issue you're going to find is that a lot of times, because you're going to use her buff card a lot, you're going to be missing out on the stacks on Liz for when you use her, for when you want to get her 4 stacks of light intervention or whatever it's called. You'll be missing out, and it'll be a little slower to build it up, but that's just the nature of this team. But you have enough survivability and just tankiness and just flat out like you cannot be messed with because of your Miles pass and everything, that you're fine. So anyway, the basic idea of this team is if you fight a team that has hell, you want to do double AoE turn 1, you tend to go first in this team. Ella Margaret's not required, but it's very much appreciated. But it's not required. If you don't have Ella Margaret, then just skip to the next team. If you have Ella Margaret, what you want to do if you fight a hell is you want to do double AoE turn 1. You want to do her AoE into his AoE, and then cleanse. Because that will almost fully stack, or actually no, it will fully stack the Margaret's passive to give you more crit damage and stuff. So that's really good. Anyway, next team is going to be still a Liz team. We're going to stick to Liz teams first, and then we're going to move on to other teams. Next team is going to be another Liz team. Now, this is just Liz and Ban. Now, Ban doesn't actually get anything of Liz because she doesn't count as a sin, but Ban is a sin, so Liz gets something off of him. Okay, but the main part is here, Ban, when he does his 2 cards, will apply enough debuffs to fully stack Zelda's passive. And also, because you're going to be running another Sin, you're going to have You're gonna have the 10% HP related stats up, which is good enough. You also lower their attack rate by a bunch. Now, if you have Zeldris Relic, which I don't think is needed for this, this relic isn't that crazy, but if you have it, it is a Skull and Hardy relic, so it's like, it's up to you. And I don't think it's that important. I think it's a Skull and Hardy relic at least. Then you lower their attack related stats by 10% or further 10%, right? So 10% from him, 10% from her, and then a bunch from him. When you when they're attacking, okay, because this only applies when they're debuffed, but they'll always be debuffed from this guy. You get more basic stats from this guy. It's practically your best backline. Now for your last slot here, we can actually go to this tab, and I can go to Sins. There's a bunch of characters you can run. Okay, you could run your Purgatory Melly here. Okay, you could run the one ultimate here. He would work. You could run Diane here. Now it's a strong team, but it's very annoying because the same thing the goddess is, right? Diane has a stance card and an attack card. Now the attack card you don't just want to be spamming, you want to use it when you actually need to use it to lower someone's ult gauge. But Ban, turn 1, you always just debuff into Tornado, boom. Okay, big damage, 2 stacks for Liz, and then the third card I usually use Liz AoE or use a single target already, or if I have a third person on the team I would use them. Okay, so what yesterday I found out I actually really like is if you run, and I can't find him, if you run Chad King. I can't find him. There he is, right in the middle of the screen. Chad King, this guy is really good. Relic, not necessarily needed. If you don't have it, it's fine. Give the team a try. You'll be probably still good to go. He'll do a little bit less damage, but honestly his relic isn't that crazy. But just in general, the shield is really nice to have right now. If you fight a hell, it's not the greatest, but it's still strong enough. And the thing with him is, even if he's disabled, you can just always spam AoEs with him, and it's fine. And he's such a good just like catalyst for Liz, because you can just spam cards and get her stacks up without having to worry about anything. Okay, so you just use his cards, and then boom, she gets a 4 stack, and then Mayhem and Curse. Okay, you do his AoE into her AoE when she has 4 stacks. When she has 3 stacks, you do his AoE, then her AoE, then her single target, and that's probably you winning the match already immediately. Okay, so second turn you usually win on this team. Now again, the one ultimate S can do the same thing. You can just use cards of him, right, as you please, because you can just do that with him, right? You want to do that with him, so you can build up his own passive, right? Up to 4 times 50% damage increase. That's really good. Diane, I would also genuinely only run if you have a relic. Without her relic, she's not weak, but she doesn't provide enough to Liz, and she's just gonna be like more of a hindrance. Like the stance combination with her revive is really strong. But I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. I've used it, it doesn't feel good. You can try it, if it still feels good, you can use it. Lolly Merlin, you can genuinely still use with this team. You have to have the Holy Relic though, but it's dear, it's very easy. I'm gonna make easy farming guides for the Demonic Beast battles once New Year's happens. So look out for that. And then Lost Vein Meliodas, you can also use, if you have him LR, obviously only if you have him LR, you can also use him. Okay, you can also use him. LRS Canoi, unfortunately, you cannot use. He doesn't work on this team. But yeah, a bunch of different units you can use on this team, right? You could try. I haven't tried this yet, okay, so I can't vouch for this. But you can try her. In my head, she seems like a really good idea. But that's, you know, you can. I haven't tested it. I can't vouch for it, okay? But yeah, those are teams you could run. These are all good teams. You could run Green Gulfer as well, which I've done, which is very greedy. You get a lot of damage, but you're very squishy. I would only recommend this if you have like 30 million plus box CC, and you have all the outfits for the characters, all the holy relics. I mean, Gulfer is useless, but you need the stats. Yeah, this is like a super, like if you're up there, you know, and you're just lazy, go ahead, try this team. You'll have fun. You'll see huge damage numbers. But yeah, anyway, next team. Also, throughout the video, I'm trying to put on the links on the characters, but honestly, it's up to you, really. Like, if you don't have Ella Margaret link, right, then you can run, like, my link. You know who your damage dealer is, you know who your tank is, just do the links accordingly. If you don't have the Graces 6/6 and you're not comfortable running them, then you could just use any character you have with high CC to substitute, okay? So links aren't that important. Now, next up is the Unknown team, okay? Very classic. This team will never get old. This team will always receive infinite amount of buffs. Now, this team, I will say straight up, you need NANASHI and you need his Holy Relic, okay? If you don't, I wouldn't bother running them. So you could run Rum if you have her, but she will not provide nearly as much as NANASHI does, because NANASHI doesn't just provide 30% base stats to Unknown. He does a bunch of other stuff. He gives you defense related stats, he gives you more HP, he helps with ult gauge control, people don't want to attack into you, and he does so much more, which is the only reason this team can like function properly. That if you don't have him and you don't have his Holy Relic, don't bother running this team. Go to the next team. Okay, But yeah, unknown team, very strong. Now again, unknown team has very many options, okay? Now for PvP, the best unit on this team is going to be Hell, far and away the best unit on this team, okay? Like, she's up here when they're down here, okay? Very broken unit. If you have her, you definitely run her. 100% must run. If you have her 1/6, don't matter, run her, okay? Albedo, if you have her, very strong unit. Turn 1, practically immortal, except against the human team, maybe. But practically immortal, and scales really well, right, as the match goes on. Allows you to rush ultimate of your characters. So you could rush your Hell ult or your Tier ult or even Albedo ult while having her stance up and just being practically unkillable against most teams. Really, really strong unit. Tier, same thing. Arguably the best overall unknown unit in the game, and arguably top 3 units in the entire game. Probably, I mean, in my opinion, he's top 2. It's like number 1 and 2 is like split between him and Mael. But yeah, anyway, so there's a bunch of options on this team again. You could remove Tier if you don't want to run him. Tier will help a lot with damage, especially with Hell. You could remove Albedo as well. Right, any of these two could be replaced for. Now, if you see a lot of Albedos, you have to do this on your personal experience. If you're running an ungeared and you're on global and you see a lot of Albedos, right? Like, Albedo is really popular right now. People are running a bunch of Albedo. What you could do is not run Albedo and you run your GALAND instead, right? And then I would move it to red time link to Tier or Hell even. Hell is really strong with time link as well. Or GALAND, it works with all of them, man. Actually, genuinely, just like up to you what you feel like is taking the most damage in your game or taking the most hits. Just put the red timer on that, right? Just do like 1 or 2 matches and be like, okay, yeah, I think this person needs it. GALAND, very strong, very strong. Has rank 1, cancel stances, has insane amount of single target damage. If you have Tier, it gets more single target damage. Just does so much damage, honestly, and just immediately cucks Albedo because of this card. It removes stance on rank 1, so whenever you have this card up and there's an Albedo with a stance, you hit her and she has no stance, and then you can just freely attack her, probably kill her with GALAND as well. GALAND very strong, very, very strong. Another option could be Freyr. Now, I don't like Freyr too much right now because there's not too many green units running around. Like, the only green unit that's like in the meta right now would be LR Escanor, and I think that's really it. I think no one else is really running a green unit. Yeah, there's not really any other green units. Yeah, so like at best you're hitting type neutral, and at worst you're hitting a bunch of type disadvantage enemies. Now the thing is, against like light and dark enemies, he's still fine. He's really strong. He's so underrated. He's so stupendously strong. But this guy is someone 100%, 100,000,000%, only run him if you have this holy relic. If you don't even think about running him. Don't even think about running him. Okay, this guy does not work. Now, if you're a weaker player, you could run some run on this team. No, I don't feel like she's that strong right now because goddesses have cleanse. Unknown team just have like the stances and this stuff. The Sins could just like ult rush as well because they have like some of the strongest ults. Not that strong, right? The dissolve part is nice. But again, there's so much ways nowadays to play around it. I feel like she's not that strong, but you could try it. You could definitely cheese your way up to champ 1. But that is probably on the weaker side. Same thing with Bloody Merlin. You could run her and she'd be okay. She has Infect, which is like sort of rare right now. Somehow sort of rare right now. They used to spam it. But she's like relatively strong. She's like unexpectedly strong. Echidna, very strong. Same reason. Has Infect. Has Infect. Does good damage. Buffs the team as well. Takes less damage. You could run a setup like this as well. Now, I don't like this setup, but you could run it. You could run her with Albedo. Because her at the Roxy at the start of turn will apply the shield, and then they have to hit you. Now, if they don't hit you, you get 20% attack rate stats from the shield. And they will also get a damage received debuff from Albedo. So next turn, your Tier can just AoE and one-shot everyone if they don't attack you. And if they do attack you, then she will counter and will do a lot of damage. And Tier will probably still be able to do a bunch of damage because his shield won't expire, so he'll still get the attack related stats. And then her stance will run out, he gets more attack related stats. This team works, okay? I'm not really too sure why not a lot of people are running it, but you could run it. Same thing, you could run Irons if you want. If you have him 6/6 only though, I wouldn't recommend. If you only like 4/6 and above. If you don't have him, now honestly 6/6 only. If you have him 6/6, run him. If you don't, then don't. Another thing, Rimuru, if you're fighting a lot of Lizzes, put Rimuru on your team. Rimuru cucks the revives from Liz, so you can actually play the game normally. and this team could work really well. Not sure about Albedo on this team. I don't think I'd like Albedo that much. I would honestly just go, I would at that point just commit to like a full offensive team. So I'd either run Echidna for the infect, or I would run, where is it? Hell would work really well. And the main unit I want to talk about, which is also a green unit, so we just need to green GALAND. There we go. GALAND is the unit I want to also talk about. So you can run GALAND with Rimuru, a bunch of teams, okay? As you can see, Unknown's very free. NANASHI makes it all work though. If you don't have NANASHI, you can run this team. I promise you will not find nearly as much success as you would with his Holy Relic. And if you don't have his Holy Relic and you still want to run it, you have to run Rum. You have to run where is she? Oh, Rum. I swear I just saw her. I swear. Okay, there you go. There she is. Right, and you don't need a Holy Relic. If you missed out on it, it's whatever. I mean, you're missing out on a bunch of CC, but like it's fine. The Holy Relic just gives you attack rate stats on their Rupture card. It's stupid. But yeah, there we go. That's really it. So that's the Unknown team covered. The last but not least, we have the human team. Also, will have a bunch of variations. Because of the Red Roxy. I don't think I'll cover the Red Roxy teams though. I think they're good, but I think they're very just. I will cover them. I will cover them. I'll cover one Roxy team, okay? Because I actually think it's really strong. But yeah, human team. This is the core of the human team. Now the backline, they don't have the best backlines. You could run this Arthur for more HP, and that works. But you'll lose out a bunch of damage. But it is really strong. I would recommend for most people to just run this Arthur. You have him for free. Just get him up, run him. Okay. Now if you're super duper well, you can run Death Pierce. Okay, and he will actually be so strong on this team. But honestly, I don't know if I would recommend it. Also for your Escanor, I would always either go Red Tarmiel or Blue Merlin Link. Okay, you don't need to have Blue Merlin up. She is the best Link by like a very slight amount, but we Grand cosplayers love min-maxing. You can run Blue Merlin, you can run any of the Merlins, as long as you get the crit chance buff, right? The difference between them isn't that big, okay? Blue Merlin just gives the most health, and that's really it, okay? She gives the most everything, really, so... Yeah, Blue Merlin, I would just run her, okay? Now, Red Time is really strong on this guy, too. Always on Roxy, you always want to be running Red Saria Link. Very strong, right? Is the strongest Link. And then for this guy, you can run Red Tarmiel at that point. Because this guy staying alive is pretty important to you, so I'd recommend this guy. Now, because of LIS, you need a human backline, right? You cannot run, like Green Zealous would be fire on this team, but you can, because of LIS, it has to be a full human team. So another backline you could run is Zaneri if you have her Holy Relic. If I could find her, she should be anyway here. Which is Jenna, actually. I meant Jenna. They're the same person, bro. Now you could run her because she gives humans 12% attack rate sets. You could run her backline. You could not run this Ban. You could run like a Mono instead. Or you could run this Levi instead. And you could run Ragnarok Ban backline. That would work as well. You could run Rudius over this Ban. Some people like that. He gives you Infect, which is very strong. But I'm just not a fan of him. He gives you Infect, which is pretty strong. You could run Rudius over this guy and then run Ragnarok Ban backline as well. Ragnarok Ban, obviously, as you can tell, is a very strong backline. It's just that the fact that once you put him on, you lose this Ban. Okay, you can't run this guy. Now, you could run literally this team. You could also run this team because I prefer this guy when he's actually on the field because he gives you that slight damage increase. It's nice. So yeah, I would probably run this guy over this guy if you have him built, and I just run this team. You could run this team. I think I've made a video on this exact team as well before. Another one again. Levi you could run Rudius. I'm gonna put him on the team now. If you don't have LR Escanor, you could run the one Ultimate Escanor. Now he will be a lot weaker. A lot weaker than LR Escanor. He does not do nearly as much damage, but he'll still do okay. And that's really it for the human team. For the Blue Roxy variants. Okay? Now, if you don't have Blue Roxy, but you have Red Roxy for some godforsaken reason, okay, you could run Red Roxy, okay, you could run Green Arthur, right, and then you would run LR Escanor, and you would run Transcendent Ban, and that's the only team of her that I would recommend you run, okay. If you have these units, this is the only team, okay. Up to you which way you want to do it, honestly. Really up to you. Whoever you feel like brings more utility to your team. He has ult gauge reduction. She has a stun. He has a stance, and he also cleanses you. She doesn't. So really up to you who you run. But yeah, this is what I do. Okay, this is the type of team I do. Obviously, links would be different. You'd put Red Tarmiel on this guy. But yeah, that's the human team. All those teams can get to Champ 1. Obviously, you'll have some unlucky streaks where you just lose a couple games in a row. You'll have some lucky streaks. I will not be covering demon teams, as I don't think that it will take you too long. It will take you way too many matches. I don't think the demon team is competitive enough right now. But just to cover it very quickly, you run Demon King, okay? You run Demon King, and then you can't run Essarosa. You can run Essarosa. Yep. And then I would recommend Red Mollusca. At this point, just run Red Mollusca. I don't think, like, you won't be getting that many Essarosa stacks anyway. And then you need Cusack backline. Okay, don't worry about anything else. Honestly, just run this team exactly like it is. You're fine. All right, this team will probably be your highest chance of winning with Demon King. Okay, but yeah, I don't think this team is that competitive, so I wouldn't really worry about it. But yeah, that's every team that I think can get to Champ 1, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. I think I covered everything. You can, if you, on the unknown part, because I covered so many teams, just like comment your variation down below, and I can tell you if it works or not. If you have like a bunch of different units that you want to pair up. But yeah, that's it. Good job.